All right, just give me a sec.
What are you doing? Can you put some shoes on? The last episode, we literally had complaints about your foot.
Are you saying we may have got off on the wrong foot? Welcome back, Bottle Killers. Another episode of Bottle Killer TV. I'm your host, Michael Roche. As always, we have the often imitated, never duplicated. It's the real Bottle Killer, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you?
Doing good, thanks, Michael. Welcome back to all returning Bottle Kill TV fans. And if you're tuning in for the first time, don't forget where that subscribe button is, people. Come on.
And I'm going to do you a solid today, and I'm going to keep the socks on. Shoes are off, socks are on.
Thank God.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly.
So today, what do we got? We got a bit of a different. We got one of our first for discussion episodes. So what we're going to do for the for discussion episodes is we're going to pick a topic to discuss rather than a straight review. I think the straight review's been going well, though, haven't they?
Yeah, good. Yeah, some good ones recently. Lefroy 18, the Turbo.
So we always say, you know, if you want to skip the jibber jabber, you want to skip straight to the end and do the 2-minute review. We have that at the end. Today, obviously, we don't have a 2-minute review because it's going to be all jibber jabber. But
all jibber jabber
in
today.
A better way to put it, for discussion.
I like it.
For discussion. I kind of nicked that off the Oddberg 8-year-old committee release, but I like it too. So basically, we're going to do the Islay power rankings. So we're going to rank our Islay distilleries from 9 to 1, because even though on the Whiskey Gladiators episode, Matty gave us 10 points for naming 10 Islay distilleries, there's actually only 9 active Islay distilleries right now that are producing whiskey and selling it on the open market. So, producing whiskeys, that is. I guess there's older ones you can find that are on the market. So let's. So what we're gonna do? Grab your whiteboard, and then we'll start. We'll go in. I think we go in descending order. You know,
yeah.
we start at 9, and then we go to 1 to the king of Islay in, this is August now, so August 2024. So when it comes to a power ranking, you know, in terms of criteria, what I think we do is we say personal favorite has got to be part of it. You know, what your personal preference, what you think in terms of innovation in the market is. How you think that they're being betrayed by the market. Are they on an upswing? Are they on a downswing? And any other criteria you think of that we may want to consider when we're doing our power rankings?
Yeah, makes sense.
Is there any more criteria that you feel necessary?
Quality of the whiskey. You know, I think, like, we'll just, like you say, it's a discussion, right? So we'll go through it. We'll have a bit of jibber jabber, give some reasons. As well as what you know, we say this all the time, get involved. Like, you may not agree with how we rank them. Let us know in the comments, get involved. We'd love to know, like, do you think differently? Do you think that, you know, whatever we're going to say, some distilleries should be higher, some should be lower? Let us know. We'd love to get you all involved in a discussion as well.
And what's kind of interesting is previously we were kind of moving away from the peated stuff this year, right? That's kind of been one of the themes of some of the choices. But the people have spoken, and actually out of our top 10 videos, 9 of them are Islay videos, right? So people love Islay. People love the character of Islay and what Islay produces, that region of that seems to be the most popular online for us, from our experience anyway. Just give us a 1-minute overview. What are we drinking today? What have you poured for us, Bottle Killer?
Well, today, since we're going to be looking at the Islay distilleries, we thought it was only right that we should drink an Islay whiskey. It is actually our first dram of the day, so we're not warmed up yet. So we're starting off with something that's
beautiful.
Actually unpeated from Islay, from Bruichladdich. And this is the classic laddie, so this is your kind of standard core range unpeated Bruichladdich. Comes in at 50%, so nice high ABV, readily available, usually in around the £40 bracket. I think it's lovely. Not sure if you tried this one before.
You know, I've actually not. I tried. We did a review of the Bruichladdich 18, and we've been to the distillery, but I've never actually tried the old classic laddie.
I think it's an excellent whiskey, to be honest. Good place to start. Who knows? As we get through the episode, depending how much rambling we do, maybe there's time for another one. But yeah, this is what we're going to start with today.
Fantastic. So let's go. Let's jump straight in. So number nine on the Islay power rankings, who would you rate ninth out of ninth on Islay in terms of your impressions of them as a distillery?
Okay. It's tough
Easy.
because
This is easy for me.
really.
Yep, easy.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be too contrarian either. I think it's actually going to be pretty easy.
Okay.
Okay,
Done.
3, 2, 1, reveal. Let's see. Show me. Ardnahoe. Okay, interesting. I've gone Bowmore.
Yeah.
So maybe I've gone the contrarian. So I think you've put that because it's new.
Yeah.
And you've only had one release in order to enjoy, and because Paul told me off at the distillery.
No, it's got nothing to do with Paul. I think I kind of gave this a lot of thought, and it's a difficult one to kind of separate them, and I don't want people to misconstrue this as I don't think Ardnahoe are making great whiskey, or that there's going to be great stuff coming out from them in the future. We actually did an episode of the inaugural release. It was the first review to hit YouTube. If you want to go back, you can find it on the channel. But I think it is just, there's only been one release so far, right? So to have the power, and Bowmore's like one of the oldest Islay distilleries, so I couldn't discredit. So I've gone Ardnahoe number 9.
Yeah, so I've done Bowmore. One is because it's probably the only one I haven't tried. We've been to Islay twice. Is it the only distillery we haven't visited on Islay?
We've definitely not been to it.
So we've not done a tour in the Lefroy, but we
Yeah.
visited the Lefroy, and it's a beautiful, it's on its little lock or whatever you call it.
Yeah, we've not done Kalila either because
beautiful,
you
that's true.
couldn't go when we were. It was
COVID, yes, but it's absolutely beautiful. And so yeah, Bowmore, just a bit of a dud in my eyes. I've never tried it, and then when I do look at it, the only ones that are exciting are just like seem so vastly like overpriced in terms of their investment. I never hear anybody raving about them. They're never the ones that people are like, oh, you got to try Bowmore. Interestingly enough, I did try the Ben Bracken from Lidl, which was supposed to be Bowmore.
okay.
And I thought it was awful, but that was probably a very, very young Bowmore,
Yeah.
right? But it just that character of whiskey just didn't represent Islay for me. So Bowmore number 9. Number
Okay.
8. What are you going for?
Well, hopefully.
It sounds like you've actually done some planning. I actually haven't planned.
I've given it a lot of thought. I have. There you go. Ready.
Okay, and I apologize to my spelling. And actually, we need to write these a bit bigger. But 3, 2, 1, reveal. You've gone Bowmore. Okay.
Yeah.
I've gone Kilhoman.
So, yeah, maybe sort of hinted towards this being towards the lower end of my top Islay distilleries, just mentioning Ardnahoe there, just being the newest and not having that much volume. But Bowmore, for me, I find the core range pretty disappointing. The 18-year-old is good, but it's not fantastic. And I think the one up here is the Volts edition that they do, and it's kind of affordable, probably about 70 to 80 pounds, and it comes in at a higher strength. And I did enjoy this one, I did like it, but I think it's being priced out of the older higher end. We've been to the Bowmore Hotel both times that we've been in Islay, and they've got some excellent whiskies in there, one of the best selections actually in any whiskey bar that I've seen. And I tried some really nice older Bowmore stuff in there, but it's by the dram, like Michael said, you're kind of priced out of the premium stuff. So for me, bring the prices down, and more whiskey fans will get to try them, and maybe they'll be higher up in the power rankings.
Yeah, so I've gone Kilhoman, and so Kilhoman is kind of like a we hardly knew ye type of vote for me, because we visited the distillery shop once.
Yeah.
But we spent more time in the cafe than we did the distillery shop itself. We tried a few things. We had one during the Whiskey Gladiators episode, which is absolutely delicious. I think for Kilhoman, one is the lack of me understanding their range, because there's no obvious age statements.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a age statement to put a stake in the ground, and then you can maneuver around it, right?
Yeah.
different innovative releases. With I don't know what I'm buying. I know there's one particular one. Is it Loch Gorm that you really enjoy?
Loch Gorm's really good. Yeah, I bought that when we were at the distillery. Senaig is the one that's up here. That's the one that we were drinking on Whiskey Gladiators. And they do some really nice stuff, and they're doing it again. We talk about when distilleries do it in the right way. They're like a small farm distillery, so they're doing everything in-house. Slightly younger, less established than some of the older players. But like I said, I think, they've got a 16-year-old now, so they've been around for long enough. But yes, the majority of what they do it's no age statements, isn't it? Not that there's anything wrong with that. They've released some excellent whiskies. The Islay Barley is fantastic, or the 100% Islay, I think they might call it. But yeah, I can see where you're coming in with that one. So we go in.
Did you tell? So I think it's one of those that could be a grower. I just don't know it enough. I've not tried it enough, and I'm just a little bit confused by what they're actually doing. But it's very well thought of, actually, isn't it? Very, very well thought of.
It does have a lot of popularity amongst whiskey drinkers and Scotch whiskey fans.
So number 7, reveal yourself. So Kilchoman. Okay, we're very. This is going to get interesting when we get to the lower numbers then, because we're very similar in the distilleries. Why have you gone Kilchoman? Since we'll follow on, since we just spoke about that.
I think it's the fact that it's kind of less established. I mean, I've got or had 4 or 5 bottles of Kilchoman. I think the best that I've tried is the 100% Islay. The Loch Gorm, absolutely love it. It's a sherried and peated whiskey. Used to be quite difficult to get hold of. Bought it from the distillery, but I think the way that the market is at the moment, you should be able to get it. Definitely worth trying. And I think they make excellent whiskey. I think they do some really good stuff. But for me, it's just it goes back to how much of it have I tried personally? Not as much as some of the others. And also when I start thinking ahead into like the lower numbers that we're going to be looking at next, I'd find it very difficult to put Kilchoman above any of the others that are going to be left in the list. So, yeah.
And I've gone Ardnahoe, and the reason I've gone Ardnahoe is because similar reasons to you. They've only had one release, but they made it a bloody good release, didn't they? 6 years old. It was a bloody good release. We really enjoyed it. Great review.
I think it was 5.
5.
Yeah, 5 years old, yeah.
I'm thinking of the Lindors we did last week. And it's also got that, and the reason I put it ahead of the more established distilleries like Kilchoman and Bowmore, it's just personal preference, just because we visited Ardnahoe, sorry, and so I kind of feel like we're a bit part of that story. We saw it before they produced it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the sentiment.
We met the operations manager. I got told off by the operations manager. He came in on his day off in order to give us a tasting, and so I just feel a bit more warm to the place. So yeah, I think Ardnahoe is one where they really seem to want to do something special there with that distillery. It's a beautiful place to visit, both in what the building looks like and where it's placed. And I think they're going to be producing some absolute bangers. So if you can still find the 5-year-old, I definitely think
it's still quite available, and that's the thing. I think they've got quite a large capacity for production. But I'd agree with you. Like, I'm definitely excited to see more from Ardnahoe. I think for me, it is just that it's so new. I mean, the inaugural release only came out May 2024, so we're talking as we film today, 2 months ago. So definitely more to come from them, but yeah, I think for me, I couldn't have put them higher up the list. So where are we up to now? Number 6.
Yep.
Getting into the big boys now.
All right, number 6. Reveal yourself. I think we're the same on this. Yeah. I thought we would be.
Yeah.
I thought we would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the reason for me is Kalila. I probably come into contact with Kalila the most in terms of Johnny Walker Black and Johnny Walker Green label.
Yeah.
So it's more in the blends. It's more of a blend filler whiskey in my eyes than standing on its own 2 feet. I did get the 12-year-old. I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah.
So I've not had much experience, but I do like drinking Johnny Walker. So in that essence, I must like the Kalila which is going to be a heavy part of that makeup.
Yeah, I think the thing with Kalila for me is like I really do love it. You see it a lot in independent bottles. I think it's a very versatile spirit. It's produced obviously in huge numbers. I don't know if this is still correct today, but at one time it was certainly the highest in volume of spirit, and obviously you'll know that because it goes into a lot of Johnny Walker that is produced on Islay. But I've tried a lot of different Kalilas, and as I say, you see them a lot in independent bottles. What people tend to say is like, you never really get a bad Kalila, but it never really blows your mind.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, there was a few years ago, I can't remember what year it was released, but Diageo do the special releases, and there was a phase when they were doing unpeated Kalila, and it was a 15-year-old unpeated Kalila special release. Probably my favourite Kalila. At the time, it was one of my favourite whiskies, certainly one of my favourite Islay whiskies. So I've got a lot of love for Kalila. I think it's kind of like easy to dismiss it. It's a bit of an unsung hero because you used to see it everywhere, but well worthy of like its sixth place. And I think now we're kind of moving into some of the more, I guess, if you've watched this before, you'll think, yeah, you could understand these might be more predictable, this kind of top five, where they're going to land in terms of order. I'd be interested to see.
This is the bit I should have done more homework on.
Top five.
The other thing about Kalila I've always didn't like, I just like the look of the bottle. I like the colour of the bottle.
The old school style, yeah.
Yeah, I like the old school. I hope they don't change that up for something a bit more goofy because...
yeah, I like it, yeah.
I love the style.
Yeah.
Style points. So we're gonna get to the top five now. So you give me your number 5, and I'm gonna work fast because I don't know what I'm gonna pick here. Oh, I do actually.
Okay. I think we'll differ here.
I don't know if we will. I don't know if we will.
I think we will. Keeping you in suspense. All right then.
3, 2, 1. Reveal number 5. Bunnahabhain, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I've gone Lagavulin.
See, I knew we'd differ there.
Yeah, well, you know, I've got a lot of love for the Islay distilleries, and a lot of them is just magical times. You know, if you want to think about whiskey as, you know, whiskey is not whiskey until it's shared. Who said that? I don't know who said that, but it's a great quote, and it's true. Whiskey is whiskey when it's shared. So when we've had some great experience at distilleries, they automatically, I'm more interested in their whiskies, and therefore I've gone and tried more of their whiskies. I've got more experience with their whiskies. Lagavulin kind of put me off with the experience we had at the distillery itself, and therefore I didn't try that many ones. Recently tried the 16, which I can't disagree. I absolutely loved. Yeah, we did the Offerman edition, which is I think that's been a really popular release. It seems people really seem to be interested in that as a release. It was a rum cask, and so you know I thought it was decent. Yeah, you know it's not one I maybe would buy myself, but it's so that's my only experience of Lagavulin due to that fact. And that's why it's probably the 5th, because the 16, when I do try it, I do absolutely love it.
Yeah. Lagavulin 16 was really what kind of connected me to Islay, so it will always have a place in my heart. And you can probably see in the background, I've got a lot of Lagavulin bottles up on the top shelf there. It has, in recent times, kind of gone down in my estimations, again, to do with the distillery visit, but also I think the quality of what they're producing is starting to go down. Like, again, a few years ago, the Lagavulin 12-year-old special release was up there with the best of whiskies that I think you could get. Classic bourbon cask. They've kind of messed around with it in recent years. They did a tequila cask last year, I think. Year before, Virgin Oak. Neither of them really like hit home with me as much. So, you know, I loved that classic, unadulterated bourbon cask Lagavulin spirit with the smoke and the sweetness. But it has kind of dropped in my estimations. Bunnahabhain, I guess, the reason why I put it lower on the list, and it might come as a bit of a surprise, is I do love the versatility of Bunnahabhain. Obviously, they do unpeated, they do peated. But it's another one kind of similar to Kalila, and people might hate me for saying this, but I can't remember being blown away by a Bunnahabhain whiskey. It's always solid. Some that we tried at the distillery in the warehouse were great, excellent. I think you took a driver's dram of one straight from the cask. That was incredible. But for me, again, like, you know, the 12-year-old cask strength, really good. 12-year-old for standard core range, excellent. But I just don't think like it never really sort of reaches the wow factor with me, which I have had with Lagavulins, with Ardbegs, other kind of distilleries that are going to be higher up on the list.
So you're telling me I took a driver's dram and I wasn't even driving?
Yeah, it was that good. You're like literally.
Sometimes
like
you got to work your magic at these places, right? I
Yeah.
get those extra drams, but I do remember that one. That was an absolute banger.
Yeah, you couldn't even buy it because like it was literally straight from the cask.
That
Like
was the Warehouse 9
Yeah.
tasting. That was a fantastic. Again, is a Boona Harbin in terms of if you want great photography, Boona Harbin's the place to go. If you want a great tasting that's a bit more than your average tasting, the Warehouse 9 tasting is fantastic. They gave us great glasses which haven't survived the test of time.
No.
But yeah, interesting. Okay, I wouldn't say no more because Boona Harbin's still in play on mine. So let's go for number. Oh, I'm torn. Wow, I'm really torn.
I love how like you're kind of just making it up as you go along, and I've literally like done my homework on this. Like my list is, I'm confident in my list because I've thought about it before we did this.
I never thought I would do this. I never thought this would be the time. But reveal yourself. What have you gone for? Lagavulin. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, for me. This hurts me. This hurts me in the odd.
So I think with this, you're similar to me because there was a time when Lagavulin would have been my number one Islay whiskey, Islay distillery without question. I loved it. I think I've already mentioned it, so I'm not going to rake over old ground. The distillery experience, the quality going down. But it does hurt, doesn't it, when you're like, you've gone from like something that you like really, really love. But I think it also shows like the distillery can't take whiskey drinkers for granted because the second that you kind of take your finger off the pulse and start disappointing them, like they'll stop buying or buying as much from you. And you see like Diageo sales were down recently.
Yeah.
You know, they're all competing with each other. And actually we are in a boom period. But also you've seen lots of new distilleries coming out. People are very interested in new distilleries. But I think like we're kind of going through that wave where supply is now starting to kind of outstrip the demand. Mm-hmm. And we go through those cycles. You saw it when a lot of distilleries got closed down years and years ago. I think like, I'm not necessarily like saying that it will happen. Hopefully it doesn't for, you know, the businesses and the new distilleries. But I think like you're starting to see the demand for whiskies taper off, or maybe it is there's just so much on the market, like people can't buy everything.
And don't get me wrong, I've put Ardbeg number 4, which has surprised myself. But don't be too sad that it's number 4 because now we're really getting into the
big boys,
the big leagues, right? It's like tonight we're going to watch the 100-meter sprint on the Olympics, right? The person that gets 4th place on the 100-meter sprint on the Olympics is still the 4th fucking fastest man on the fucking planet, right?
Yeah.
They don't get a medal. And right now, Ardbeg isn't getting a medal. And I'll tell you why. Do you remember the George Bush quote? You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's how I feel about Ardbeg. They've got a great core range. We came into the game. We went to the distillery. We absolutely loved it.
It was amazing.
I would love to go there again. I'm still upset that we're not going back to Islay so we can go back to Ardbeg and see everybody. Jackie, Ron, Emma, everyone in the distillery. They're so amazing.
Yeah.
But people don't make the whiskey when you're not at Islay, right? What makes the whiskey is what is in the bottle.
Yeah.
And what is in the bottle. We came into the game where everyone was so high on Ardbeg, you know, in terms of the Corvecan, the Ugadals, and we started to drink them and okay, great. I still really like those whiskeys. The 10-year-old is kind of like maybe one of the best peak core range releases you can still buy, right?
Yeah.
That's still the boomer. But what has kind of been a little bit disappointing is that I kind of I kind of put my anchor down and said, Ardbeg's going to be my distillery. I'm going to be an Ardbeg fanboy. And I started to buy the releases. And I don't know if there's one release I really even remember. We have the Galileo, which
Yeah.
we I don't know if we'll tell that story one day on here, which was an older one from 2012, an amazing release.
Yeah.
But other than that, come and think in my mind, has there been any great Ardbeg? We've done the Anamorphic on this channel. We've done the Spectacular on this channel.
Yeah.
I don't really remember them. Like you just said, Boona Harbin, none has ever blown me away. I do remember when I had the 12-year-old cask strength last year. I still remember it, right?
Oh, the Boonhaven 12.
It did blow
yeah,
me
yeah,
away.
yeah.
These were good whiskies. I couldn't say anything bad about them. And there's been times where you've slipped me drinks and I've not known, and I've been like, this is good, and it's turned out to be the hyping over,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I do still have that love of the character of Ardbeg really works in my palate, but just a bit they've kind of fell off a little bit, right? This is kind of like Eminem's fifth album before he got it back.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the Jurgen Klopp season where he came fourth and then won the league. That's where they're at. So Ardbeg, come back, baby. I want to love you again, but for now, like I said, it's I feel like shame on me if I keep believing in the Ardbeg hype and keep buying into the releases, and it pains me a little bit, but
Yeah.
I didn't buy the 14-year-old this week
No.
because I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know if it's going to be a humdinger, and that's an age statement, and I'm even turning down age statements just because I've kind of lost a little bit of that trust.
Well, I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because like we were, and not ashamed to say it, like we were massive Ardbeg fanboys. Like you said, great times at the distillery. We were buying all the committee releases, but then you're not blown away. And I love a lot of what they do. Personally, like we talked about it before, we like the packaging, we like the marketing behind it. We got no complaints about that. Like, yeah, okay, probably got our pants pulled down a little bit extra on the price, but I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But then it's kind of like over time, and you're talking like 4 or 5 years of committee releases, buying every single one, buying every single special release, and then it's like, again, I didn't buy the Unicorn's Tail, and I thought the Harpy's Tail, the Sauternes cask, was really good.
I did.
Excellent. We drank it last Sunday, right? Madeira casks, other whiskies, I've never been blown away by them, so I'm like, do I need this in my life? And also, again, what I've seen is the prices tend to come down, and it's not crazily priced for a 14-year-old. I think it's about $130, but I'm like, it's not going to sell out. I can get it in a couple of months if I really want it.
But I paid $130 for too many Ardbegs that were
not good enough.
I don't remember being blown away by.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of like the boy that cried wolf in that respect, in terms of the price. It's never about the price. It's does it blow you away? So yeah, I feel like when I finished that rant, I feel like I went on a bit of a rant there. And when I finished, I felt hot and bothered.
He's got he's got a lot to get out of his system this week.
But if you feel, but the great thing you can say about that is one Ardbeg is fourth, but two is that you care enough, right? Care, they've made you care enough about them. Because like I was very reticent or just oblivious to like Bowmore. Like I don't even, it's 9 because I don't have any pull towards it or feeling anywhere any.
There's no connection, is there?
That's why Ardnaho was ahead of it. Whereas Ardbeg, I love Ardbeg.
Yeah.
That's why you want it to be the best Ardbeg it can be, and that's all. And I don't believe that since I've really seriously got into whiskey, I've really hit a Ardbeg that is delivered on that promise. It's all been older stuff.
Yeah,
that's delivered.
Definitely. Although in their defence, I do still think that they've got one of the best, if not the best, core range of the Islay distilleries, because they offer a lot. I think the introduction of the Wee Beastie, we spoke about it when we were reviewing Meikle Tour Turbo last week. To put a 5-year-old age statement on a whiskey, and it's good, it's affordable. Buy it for about £35. The 10-year-old, one of the best, one of the best 10-year-old core releases of any kind of whiskey distillery. And then you've got Corrie Vrecken, Ugadal. So I think that there's a lot that they do right, but maybe it's just the being burnt too many times by the disappointing committee releases and paying a high price for them. You can understand why.
Well, I've probably thrown more pounds towards Ardbeg than any other whiskey.
distillery. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't feel necessarily I've got the. I just think I've got the feeling anymore. Okay, number 3, reveal yourself, and I think you've kind of gone Ardbeg. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I've gone for the old Bunnahabhain. That's my little mascot. Bunnahabhain mascot. Hopefully you can see that if it comes.
It looks just like the one on the bowl.
That's my shitty artwork.
Have you been practicing?
I felt like I rushed it.
It does look shit.
It looks like a French garlic seller. It looks like Peter Kay, you know, Max and Paddy when they go to France. If Peter Kay was a Bunnahabhain employee, a mascot. So the reason I've gone, well, do you want to just finish off your Ardbeg point and then I'll come on to Bunnahabhain and keep the flow like that?
Well, yeah, I think, you know, we've talked a lot there about Ardbeg. I think, you know, again, there was a time Ardbeg was probably the one that knocked Lagavulin off its pedestal as my top Islay distillery. And the same things, you know, it goes back to, we really had a connection with the distillery, still absolutely love it. You know, like I said, big fan of the core range. I think it's just, I want to see another Ardbeg that blows me away like Galileo. I want to get back to like those times. They're obviously capable of it. And I've got a massive connection with the brand. Absolutely love it. Love the people. I just want better whiskey. And when you'll see the top 2, that's very much based on.
We've got the same top 2. It's going to be
We've got the same top 2.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And we'll probably have them in the same order. But it's very much based on, for me, recency bias that we talked about. But because they've knocked like, they've came up and they've challenged and they've knocked these like distilleries that I actually had, you know, a real affinity with. Like, good whiskey has come through and has actually like taken them down. But Ardbeg still gets a medal with me. They get the bronze. Okay,
mine was Bunnahabhain. I turned it around just to show you my beautiful drawing again. And Bunnahabhain for me is just it's Old Faithful, right? In terms of your classic Islay single malt, which is Old Faithful, that you can start introducing to people, and it's still going to be faithful in a year's time. Bunnahabhain is that. And contrary to what you said, the Bunnahabhain have actually blown my socks off a couple of times. With the 12-year-old cask strength, I was like, this may be the best version of a cask strength whiskey that I've had. A cask strength release whiskey, when you know what you're getting with the 12 and they've up leveled it.
Yeah.
In terms of the Troubadour, I used to love that one. That's one that's like, if you get that £26 in Morrison's, we're actually going to do an episode. We're going to up level that and mix it with the Bunnahabhain. Call me crazy, but we're going to do it.
Homemade blends.
We're going to do. We're going to
get the lab coats on, goggles. Yeah,
because that Troubadour's got so much potential. But for £26, I think it's a great introduction. I think it's such a fair whiskey. You've got the peated one. What's the peated one called?
Monia.
That you have. No, it's someone else.
Oh, Christ! Now you're asking. We're not doing whiskey pronunciation. Yeah, it's like Toitiadar or something like.
Absolutely.
Toitiadar? I don't know. We're not doing whiskey pronunciations now, so don't quote me.
Absolutely delicious. So when it became
really good.
So when it came to, I wanted to buy myself a celebration bottle. Last year, I went for the 17-year-old that they did as a festival release. You know, because I trust them.
Yeah,
I trust it's gonna be good. Always treat this great, beautiful place to visit, and I like the logo as well, which is you know, like
captain pirate.
I kind of like. I don't.
What is he? What is he? Is he a captain? Is he a pirate?
He's a captain. He's not actually a pirate, but we do call it the pirate.
The pirate.
Just because.
Well, we got the T-shirts at the distillery, didn't we? With the logo, because we loved it.
I often rock up in the gym in my Bunnahabhain T-shirt. And I love it. I love those guys. I'll stop droning on so we can get to number 2.
Okay.
Have you wrote your number 2 yet?
I have, yeah. I have.
Okay. This is going to be interesting because this is big because it's very easy to go one way on this.
No peeking. Yeah. But I think we will have gone the same top two.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if we're different here.
I think I just gave it away. And
Suspense.
my art again is terrible. But 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Yeah.
I got the frog. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be a frog. I don't know if it's that good a frog, but Lefroy, and I'll lead off on this. The reason I love Lefroy is I've said this recently, and I'm saying it again. It just works with my palate. I just love their style of medicinal peat. That has to be something that I love. I love the smell of it. I love the taste of it. And this year we've really got to experience the 15-year-old classic bourbon cask.
Yeah.
The 18-year-old in a classic bourbon cask, and it's just been wonderful. It's just been absolutely wonderful. If I want to get a cocktail, I would rather they put Lefroy in it than Woodford Reserve. You know, usually they make cocktails with bourbons, but
Smoky old fashioned.
It really works with Lefroy as well. It's got that ubiquitous, that 10-year-old, as well. So I just love the thing. We got a couple of the Casidras releases, which were great as well, which were more the experimental stuff, the younger, more experimental stuff. The Law is fantastic.
Love the Law. Yeah.
Still banging the Law. So it's just I just really like what it represents, and maybe that's, people have started to whisper that it's kind of on that path of, you know, they're really they're gonna expand this thing, and maybe some of the quality is gonna decrease because of this and the way that they're now treating the spirit. But right now, from what I know, Lefroy is still it's still be the one that I'd want to, because we haven't spent enough time there in Islay, I'd want to visit the most.
Yeah, I do. I want to go and do Lefroy properly. But I think when, you know, we spoke about distilleries that we loved sort of slipping down in the rankings, this for me is like the grey horse that was at the back of the race that like came through and like took the national in the last furlong.
It's like a sleeping giant, wasn't it? Yeah.
So everyone has, the first time that you tried Lefroy, probably most people don't like it, and I was exactly the same. But as my palate kind of adjusted and I started drinking more peated whiskey, Lefroy just came through out of nowhere, and like, you know, it's kind of like a sleeping giant that's just crept up, and for it to be now the number 2, one of the more recent videos that we did, the Lefroy 18 review, it was just recently re-released in 2024, previously discontinued. At the moment, as we speak today, easily a contender for Whiskey of the Year so far.
Both of them.
Simply incredible.
The 15 and the 18.
The 15, yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And like you say, like, the Law, I think the quarter cask is really good. Triple cask, lots of versatility. But there's just nothing like it. There's nothing like Lefroy. Nothing even comes close. In uniqueness, in, like, powerful smoke, medicinal peat. I was going to say it can't be beaten, but obviously there's a number 1, so it can.
But there's a way that they described. There's a film, and they described the rumble in the jungle, and rather than a sleeping giant, they described Muhammad Ali like a sleeping elephant.
Okay.
You know, he went to sleep in the rumble in the jungle, the rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
And then when he woke up, nothing can stop a sleeping elephant. Nothing can stop an elephant in its path, right? And the Lefroy was a bit of a sleeping elephant for me. You know, all we really had was the yearly releases, the 20-year-old and the 10-year-old with batch strength, which were very good, but it was kind of like the sleeping elephant. You know, it's a giant, and it's like number 4 and 5th in the mind in terms of the Islay. And then this year, it seems like they woke up.
Yeah.
And the 18 is back on the core range. It's back on the table, and boy, did I think it delivered!
It's so good.
Now it is the elephant.
Yeah.
Now it is something that really walks around the jungle, and you have to notice. So it's fantastic stuff.
Still doing a lot of great stuff, yeah.
And I guess.
Well, I think if you haven't worked it out by now, then the reveal's not going to be that exciting. But interesting that we've both picked the same number 1 and number 2.
Don't even know how to spell this. It's so. Oh man, you better than me. You got. I got a good GCSE English. You must have got a good GCSE Celt Gaelic.
Well, I do.
Whatever the language is. Yeah, Bruichladdich. You go first on this one.
Where do I start? I think, for me, one of the things that excites me the most about whiskey is the versatility of this spirit that's made just from the same 3 ingredients, and it can be distilled at different distilleries, put in different casks, fermented for longer, a different mash bill, so many different things. So I really love the versatility and quality, care, doing things the right way, and I think Bruichladdich just nails all of them. Versatility, they've got 3 different brands under the distillery. Bruichladdich, what we were drinking here, as we said, the unpeated version. Mm-hmm. Then you've got another peated whiskey, which is Port Charlotte, and then a heavily peated whiskey, which is Octomore. So you've got 3 different kinds of Bruichladdich that you can try. I think the quality of the distillate in all of them is absolutely phenomenal, and they do so many like they were one of the first Islay distilleries, if not distilleries, to release an organic whiskey. Mm-hmm. The people that took them over, they now moved on, and they're doing similar things at Waterford. One of the reasons, why they put it in the bottle like this is because they don't want you to be misled by the colour of the whiskey. There was a lot of companies that use caramel colouring, people that think sherried whiskey is better whiskey because it's darker. You can't see the colour of it. We've just poured it. It's gone now, but it is straw coloured. They want you to really get all of the flavours. They tell a story. They're very open about, where do they get the barley from? How is it made? How is it farmed? And then you've got Port Charlotte. I actually think out of the 3, Port Charlotte's probably my favourite, but I love Octomore as well. And to just have 3 incredible brands that just offer so much to the whiskey drinker, I just don't think I could put any of the other distilleries above Bruichladdich.
Yeah, well, Bruichladdich got an easy ride in one respect, but like you said, the versatility. It does 3 things really, really well. So where people have to stagger those things out in releases, yearly releases, maybe bi-yearly releases, yearly releases, they get to do every year.
Yeah.
Through the Octomore, through the Port Charlotte, through the Bruichladdich. For myself, there's two things, and this is kind of what I really like watching on the internet is, one is people with passion, and hopefully we convey that, in some way in our channel, and people that do things really, really well because they care.
Yeah.
When you watch a really expert chef, a documentary on a real chef's table, and you watch an expert, there's something that excites you about it, isn't it? And it doesn't really matter what it is, but they have that same level of passion and the same level of expertise when it comes to making whiskey.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. That gets me excited, that they care as much as I wish that they would care about their product.
And also, we always joke about, because we do a whiskey tour each year, and actually what we mostly do now is tastings, because we figured out that once you've done one whiskey tour, you've pretty much done them all. But actually, the Bruichladdich tour was great, wasn't it? Because was it Linda or Leslie? Was that her name?
Yeah.
Leslie, yeah. Shout out to Leslie. Thanks for looking after us. We'll see you again. She just got the audience right away. She was they know how whiskey's made. They've done this before. But she kind of she got the story across. She had the banter, and then the tasting was incredible. Just again,
so much fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
So much fun. Yeah, the actual distillery itself was so much fun. But even not just the distillery, just and that Bruichladdich 18 was just blew my socks off. Port Charlotte again. I've always, the last couple of years, Port Charlotte has been on the core release, probably maybe number 1 for me. I've loved it. For so many years, we had the Rockandale where I bought the 16-year-old. I wish we would have bought the 16-year-old Bruichladdich as well. That year we got to try the Bruichladdich 18 and the Port Charlotte 18. This year, just both phenomenal. But I've adapted a bit and moved a little bit on my whiskey journey. The Bruichladdich branded stuff is the stuff that I've really, really, really loved. Like this today, just the laddie, even though it's only a supermarket dram, you'd say.
Yeah.
The lowest level of their core. It's still such a lovely little sipper.
You can pick this up really reasonably priced, and you say supermarket dram, it's almost like cask strength. It's 50%. You know, your Glenfiddich's
well, they call it
40%.
in integrity malts,
yeah.
right? So it's an integrity malt, even though it's sitting on the shelf alongside some other non-age statements that are not so integral, right?
Yeah.
So it's that for that, I salute you. And as you can tell by our passion, we're very, very high on this distillery. And I just think that like that song, is it Yaz? Like, things can only get better. I think things are only going to get better for Bruichladdich from here on out, because I think they get it. They get what little whiskey weirdos, for want of a better term, like ourselves, want.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep delivering it.
I hope so. It'd be interesting if we do this in every year, a year's time or 2 years' time. Like, will things have changed? Like, will we be looking back and saying, oh, remember when we were saying Ardbeg went down the list? Is Bruichladdich going to go down the list, or are they going to, what do they say? What was that Arnie quote? He's like, he gets asked about, he's been like Mr. Universe for like 3 years in a row. And he said, aren't you worried about like Lou Ferrigno because the wolf coming up the hill is hungrier? And Arnie turns around and goes, yeah, but the wolf at the top of the hill knows what the food tastes like. That's like Bruichladdich. Be the wolf at the top of the hill.
Great quote. And well, I think they're still in that phase where even though for ourselves they're number one, they're not necessarily number one in the wider cognition of the public, right? In the wider consciousness, consciousness. So that's where they're going for. But they're doing it all on integrity. They're all doing it on people like them and word of mouth almost. There's no flashy branding. It's word of mouth. They're getting bigger, and more people are recognizing what a great place to invest your money if you want great whiskey.
Absolutely.
So yeah, well there we have it. Our number one Islay ranking. What do you think? Do you think they were contrarian on hindsight? Was there any surprises from your side?
No, I don't think so. I like that we went a little bit different. I think not surprised that the top two were the same. A little kind of like close, but kind of a shuffle around. But obviously we've got our reasons for that. But yeah, I think it's something that it would certainly be interesting to make this like an annual thing. See if things change, see what new stuff comes out. Do our opinions change over time? Does the whiskey change over time?
And 6 months ago, the Lefroy probably would have been a steady fourth, right? But it's just had that
I think Lefroy's having a really good year. The Car Chase release was good. The Lefroy 18, incredible. So
and remember, I bought an old Corryvreckan on auction, a 2011 Corryvreckan on auction. So maybe that bumps Ardbeg back into the into the thing. Even though there's no quarrel with the Corryvreckan itself, the core range is still good. I do agree, it's still good. I don't necessarily think that's where people are complaining about the core range, as well. The Bunnahabhain is still like the one where I'm excited to, and I will buy the cask strength release this year, and I know that's going to be consistent.
Yeah.
I trust them. They've got my trust, in there. So well, fantastic. Well, let's call that a wrap, and Bottle Killer, take him out.
Well, thanks once again for joining us. As I say, please do let us know if you disagree with any of the choices. I'm sure a lot of you out there do. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So please do give us a comment. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But as far as things go today, for discussion on the Islay Power Rankings, I've had a good time. I hope you've had a good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
I felt like I got a little bit too passionate at times, but yeah, it's all part of parcel of whiskey entertainment.
That's what we're here for. And we'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV.